And now, Pip, sometimes my farmers clients there ask me about what is MUN. They see it on their dockets in the sheds. So can you explain what actually MUN and how it affects the cows?
Sure. Okay. MUN. So MUN stands for milk urea nitrogen. So when our cows are consuming pasture, there's a high crude protein content. And a lot of that crude protein is very soluble. So it's in the form of nitrogen, and it's very rapidly available once it's been consumed into the rumen by the bugs. Okay. And the bugs actually convert that soluble protein or that soluble nitrogen through ammonia. So when we have ammonia being produced in the rumen, that's going to diffuse across the rumen wall and get into the bloodstream. Now ammonia in that form, that's not a good thing. You don't want to have a lot of ammonia floating around in the blood. So at the liver, the cow naturally detoxifies that ammonia by converting it into urea. So if we start seeing an increase in urea being produced at the liver, we start seeing blood urea nitrogen going up, and as a result of blood urea nitrogen going up, we see milk urea nitrogen going up as well. So those things are very tightly correlated. So if blood urea nitrogen goes up, milk urea nitrogen goes up at the same time. So once it's been converted to urea, it can be recycled around the body. So it can be recycled through saliva, or it can come down into the milk as milk urea nitrogen, or it can be urinated out.
Okay, so if we have got high milk urea nitrogen on our dockets, how does it affect our cows on a daily basis as far as reproduction or anything like that goes?
Okay, sure. Yeah, so high levels of milk urea nitrogen are a little bit interesting. So it can have some negative effects on intake. So we've got high levels of ammonia in the rumen, so that can be a bit of a challenge there. We're certainly always interested at cows actually converting ammonia to urea. That costs energy. So if it gets to the stage where your MUNs are getting high, but also you can smell that ammonia in the cow's urine, so you're milking the cows and you can smell ammonia, that's costing a lot of energy to actually convert ammonia through into urine. So there is a loss of milk production because she's directing energy from milk production into detoxifying ammonia. Okay, so there's a production loss associated with that. But at the same time, there's a body of work around the world that's been going on where they are looking at milk urea nitrogen. Is there a correlation with declining reproductive performance? And certainly in other parts of the world, they're seeing that trend. So if MUNs are high, they're seeing a decline in reproductive performance. There's not so much work being done on that one at this point in time in grazing herds, but I would anticipate that we'll still see the correlation, even though the threshold may be higher in a grazed cow than what it is in a cow in a house situation. So yes, you're going to be aware of it and you're going to try and manage it because it can do some negative things as far as cow health and reproduction and milk production is concerned as well.
So if our milk ureas are high, how do we go about bringing them down to an acceptable level that we think is manageable by the farmer?
Okay, sure. All right, so the first things you're going to look at, because the pasture is the major contributor, you're going to look at the way you manage your grass. So the first thing is when a plant's growing, if the plant's only at the 2-leaf stage, the protein content relative to the carbohydrates is still going to be low, so making sure that you're grazing it at least at 2.5 leaves, okay, and not before 2 leaves. So that's the first thing you'll do. You'll look at the amount of nitrogen that you're applying, or even the way that you're applying nitrogen to your pasture as well, and just make sure that we're not going in with things like instead of applying 100 kilos of urea, let's get it down to 60 or 70 kilos of urea.
Right.
So the last thing, point I'd make as well around MUN is that if we're seeing SARA, if we're starting to see SARA conditions as well, that's going to challenge the ability of the microbes to actually take up ammonia as well. So if we're not controlling rumen pH, we're going to see more ammonia in the blood of the cows as well, so we can have other challenges that are associated with that, so we want to keep on top of that. We can't always, adding more carbohydrates isn't necessarily always the answer, particularly if we're not controlling rumen pH. So controlling rumen pH is a really important part of that process as well.
So the guy on those dockets sees in an early season sees a high milk urea, we could be looking at SARA as well.
There could be some SARA that's actually compounding that and causing that to occur. So you'd want to check that and make sure that that's not compounding the problem.
Okay, thank you very much.
Awesome, thanks.